Okay, what's your social security number?
587-31-6485.
All right. Okay, first I'm going to need you to confirm some information for me.
Sure.
Okay, what is your address?
6912 Mount Vernon Road, Eupora, Mississippi 39744.
Okay, thank you. What's your date of birth?
10477.
Okay, and your place of birth?
Eupora, Mississippi.
Okay, and your mother's maiden name?
Rush.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for confirming that information.
None of that takes away from the fact that I am a fucking human being that this property is attached to. Not a date, not a name, the fucking work I did.
So it's a notice you would like an explanation of?
Yeah, apparently a notice came out. It says at the top of it that it's from the Baltimore, Maryland office. But when you check the routing, it says it went from Starkville to Jackson to my house, so it couldn't have come from Starkville. So I'm assuming it's the notice that, I mean, it couldn't have come from Baltimore. So I'm assuming it's the notice that I requested from Terry on Friday to explain the $344 reduction in my benefits. She said
Okay,
she
let's
she said
see.
she said she'd send me one right immediately, and I got one today, and it looks like it came from Starkville. So I was hoping she'd explain it or someone to explain it because it doesn't say anything that she said over the phone.
Okay, and what's the date on that notice, just where I'll know kind of which
Well, the date that's on the postmark is March the 3rd. That's the
Okay, March 3rd.
postmark date. But the date that's on the letter itself that appears to have come from Terry Neely and says it's from Baltimore is February the 9th. But the
February.
postmark date, the date that it went out into the mail, was March the 3rd.
Okay, all right, that helps me. Thank you so much.
Helps me too. It helps the court too.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm
It's
reading over this. See what
easy to
happened.
identify fraud when something came from the Starkville office and it says it's supposed to be coming from the Baltimore office. One of those things is false. Either it came from Starkville or it came from Baltimore. It couldn't have come from both places.
Are you talking about where it says up there at the top that,
I'm
like, it has
talking about
Baltimore, and then at the bottom it has Starkville? Is that what you're referring to?
no. I'm talking about the document itself says it's from Baltimore,
Right.
but the envelope says it's from Starkville.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see what's going on here.
So did she send out a notice Friday?
I would have to look and see about that. Let's see if one was sent to you. I'm looking at this one from this got the 9th of
I'm
February.
sorry, ma'am. That one doesn't matter to me. The only one that
Oh,
matters
okay.
to me, the only one that I've called about, is the one that I spoke to Terry about that she said she was sending. So can you check that one?
Yes, I can
Okay, but
try to get
before
it
you
now.
do
I
that,
would have to.
can you explain to me why you're checking the something that says February the 9th when I told you I just talked to her Friday?
Because I asked you if you could give me a date, and you told me February the 9th was what was on the note, but that the mail date was postmarked for
Let me ask you then.
March.
Let me ask you then, if someone sent me something that I requested on Friday and it's dated February the 9th, isn't that post dating or back dating? Where you when you send a, you spoke to someone on Friday, but you say you spoke to them on the 9th, isn't that back dating?
What now? Okay, if somebody sent you something that has the date on here that says the date was February 9th, but they sent
Well,
it to
I
you on
mean,
Friday,
the letter says that we spoke on this date, and I inquired about something on this date, and then it says the date is February the 9th. But I only talked to her on Friday. So how is it possible that she can say that I talked to her on that day if I only spoke to her on Friday?
I haven't seen anything, I mean, yet that says what I'm looking at right here is from February the 9th. That's where I got February the 9th, and it says something about February the
Oh,
2nd. So I'm
no,
not
that's
exactly
what I'm
sure.
saying, ma'am. On Friday, when I spoke to her, doesn't the letter that I'm supposed to get from her says we are writing about the information you requested on Friday, and here is the information? Isn't that what I'm supposed to get?
Well, it would depend necessarily if it was something that was, for example, we might would send a notice. Let's say, let's say we talked about this notice that I pulled up here, and you said that you didn't understand it. I'm just using an example, and this is a notice that is postmarked. I mean, not postmarked, but has the date printed at the top for February 9th. I might would send that to you to say, here,
But
you know, look over it. And I
that
might,
is
you
not
know,
what happened
send it
though.
to you again.
That's not what happened.
And
What happened was
okay,
she said something to me over the phone that I have never had in writing. She said that the reason my benefit amounts were changed was because my Medicare premiums went up $344. And I don't have anything from Medicare or the Social Security Administration that says that. So I asked her for a notice and she said, I will send you that immediately. So if that were the case, shouldn't the notice that comes out say, we talked on this date and here is the information you requested? Not some notice from a different date, since it's new information that I've never seen.
if it was not a notice that was lost in the mail or something, I mean, that could be possible. Like I said, I wasn't there and didn't witness that, so I honestly could not say.
Okay. Well, can I
But
get
I do
that?
understand what you're saying.
Can I get that because it's taken a long time to figure out whether or not Miss Neely sent a notice out on Friday. But I need
I
that
understand
notice.
that
Maybe
now.
let me be clear. There's a $344 charge from my benefit amounts that I was never notified about. No one ever told me that there would be $344 taken out of my benefit statements or why. Can you send me that? And can you put the date on there that says the date that we actually talked about it was today? That today is the date I called you and said, no one ever told me about the Medicare premium going up $344 or gave me an option to do any other thing. That's what I'm looking for, not this whatever I got from her. Because it's just like someone I spoke to earlier, it appears to be just a printout that says we're going to take your money, but it doesn't say anything about what she said over the phone.
Okay, all right,
So when can I
all right.
get that? Because if this is the one that she sent on Friday, it only took a day to get there, and I spoke to Miss Crawley, and she said she had questions about an emergency interview that I requested in front of law enforcement so that I can inspect my records to see if Miss Neely is creating false records in my name. And I haven't heard back from Miss Crawley So it appears, and it has been reported to law enforcement, that Miss Crawley, as a supervisor, is also aware that Miss Neely is making false records and caused this financial injury. So to me, it is important to have that document. I understand that it may actually prove what I just said, that Miss Neely and Miss Crawley are actively at this very moment conspiring to conceal information in my records, but I still need the document pretty urgently.
Right. Okay, I do understand, and I've pulled up a document that looks like it's the closest I can find to that date of what might can be, what you're requesting that might be
Let me
going on. I'm
ask
just
you
trying to
this,
see if
ma'am.
it's
Let me ask you this. Is the Social Security Administration allowed to increase my Medicare premiums $344.60 without explaining to me why?
so. You would get. Let's see. This is saying something
I'm
about.
asking you a yes or no question, ma'am. Is it allowed to change my premium $344.60 in just a regular month, no special periods or anything? Is it allowed to do that without sending me a notice?
They would send it to you as they were going to do it, is my understanding.
So
Like right as
I
they were
don't
going to be able.
understand your answer, ma'am. Is that a yes or a no? Is the Social Security Administration allowed to bring up the price of Medicare premiums $344.60 without notifying the beneficiary? Yes or no?
But they would have to notify you.
But if they don't, are they allowed to do it anyway?
Okay, see, I'm trying to see on your record 1 second because everybody's case. I'm
I'm
gonna be
just
honest with you.
asking
Everybody's
you a
case is
question,
different.
ma'am. I don't know that specific answer. If they don't notify me, are they allowed to make that $344.60 change?
They would have to, like I said, they would have to notify you, or you wouldn't know.
But
You wouldn't
ma'am, you already you
that you
can
owed it.
can't you see a record there that says there's been a $344.60 change in my payments?
That's what I'm going to look for
I
right now.
All
Just
right,
give me
but let
one
me
second,
ask you
okay?
this. Do you hear me telling you that over the phone?
That there had been a change.
Right.
I did. You
All
did tell
right.
me
Do
that.
then why do you need to any to look? I mean, I don't mind you looking, and I want you to look because I'm going to need the actual notice that actually says that. But I'm
Right.
asking you a question about the powers of the Social Security Administration as you understand them from your professional point of view about whether or not, even whether or not it happened to me, is the Social Security Administration allowed to change the benefit amount $344.60 without notifying someone, with the beneficiary? Yes or
Due
no?
to insurance purposes, due to like Medicare.
For any reason, ma'am, is there any reason that the Social Security Administration is allowed to increase the price $344.60 without notifying the beneficiary? Is there any reason why the Social Security Administration would be allowed to do that? Yes or no?
I mean, people's check amounts do change for different reasons. Yes,
So
but
they
they do
can. So the
notify you.
Social Security Administration can raise the premium $344.60 without notifying the beneficiary.
No, like I said, they would let you know. They would send you a notice.
Ma'am, you're saying that they did. You're saying that they would, and I'm telling you that they didn't. You're saying they would, and I'm telling you they didn't. They didn't. So can you go to your records and show me the notice where they did that? Look in your records and see that my benefits have been reduced by $344.60. And then look in my records and tell me where I can find the notice that I should have received in the mail that explains why that happened.
Okay, I'll certainly look for that. Okay,
All right.
one
All right.
Okay,
You and I,
because I
man,
mean, there
you and I
have to.
both know you and I both know what's happening here. But I'm gonna let you do what you're doing because right now you're getting paid with the $344.60 that just came out of my check. And the only way I can get it back out of your check is to get to the person who actually wrote that document and is creating the budget. So all I have to at this point, all I can do is gather evidence that yeah, these people are literally working to knowingly causing a financial injury that they know should not be happening, and they're doing absolutely nothing to fix it. And you're paying them to do it. I've got to prove that because right now you know that happened. You heard me, but now we have to go through this so that you can pretend like this conversation we just had didn't happen. But go ahead,
I'm
because all
not
I can do
pretending that
right
our
now is my
conversation. Did
property
you
that's
think
in
that
your
three hundred and
hands,
something
and all
dollars
I
was
can do.
withheld for Medicare? I'm going to try to find that, but I do have to look.
I will again, ma'am. I know my name. I know my reputation. I created it. I lived it 41 years, and I know the charges I filed against the Starkville office. I'm gonna let you do what you're doing. Go ahead.
And let's see. And so you said now you haven't received a notice about this, correct? But you feel you were told it's being held
Ma'am,
out for
I've
insurance,
said,
correct? For Medicare premium.
I've said that the Social Security Administration in Starkville is creating false records in my name. Part of my proof is that someone just reduced my benefit amount by $344.60 in retaliation for me filing that complaint. I ain't got for me. It doesn't have anything to do with Medicare premiums or anything like that. But no, no rule was followed where I received a notice that told me that this was happening and that was happening. None of that happened. All that happened was somebody in that office took $344.60 out of my check and decided not to tell me why. But I know why. I'm just waiting on the Social Security Administration to say why.
Okay. I just thought, I'm so sorry. I just thought that you had said that your Medicare premium had went up. That's why I was confused.
I did not say that. Miss Neely said that. When I
Oh, okay.
called
That's
her and
what you were
asked her
told.
why,
Okay. I'm
when I
sorry.
called her and asked her why my benefits were reduced by $344.60, she said because my Medicare premiums went up $344.60. And I said, can you send me a notice that says that? She said yes. That was on Friday. On today, I got this notice that says it was sent on March the 3rd, sent from Starkville Social Security Administration, and this is the notice that I just told you about. Doesn't say anything about any Medicare premiums or why the $344.60 was taken out. Doesn't say any
Okay.
of that.
Gotcha. I think we're on the same page now. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
don't
mean to
think so,
disappoint
man, because
you know,
again,
step
I'm
story.
clear on the fact that what I'm getting is proof that this is intentional and that Ms. Neely did this because she doesn't want me to go in with law enforcement and investigate all of the records in the Social Security Administration's office. This isn't about me. This is about my right to prove that my records are false and give the federal government right to go into the Starkville office and inspect everybody's records, including your salaries.
Okay. Yes, sir. And let's see. I see the. Okay, that's it. Okay. I want somebody to look at this and make sure because I don't want to tell you anything wrong. But I think I found what may be the problem.
You do
So
we are both clear on the fact that I have a right to know.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. But I want to make sure I'm right. I don't want to tell you anything misleading. But no, it doesn't to me look like it's Medicare that's gone up or anything for you.
So you are looking at an internal system that's created on behalf of Zori Rush from the Starkville Social Security Administration office, and you can explain to me why the $344.60 has been reduced for my benefit amount. You
Okay?
need to investigate more to understand it.
Right, okay. And let me just
I'm
ask
asking you,
another question.
ma'am, just for clarity. Are you telling me that you work for the Social Security Administration in the Starkville, Mississippi Social Security office and that you see the record that shows that $344.60 was reduced from my benefit amount and you need to investigate more to explain it?
Not exactly. I just wanted to make sure I was telling you right. So, okay, I'm kind of telling you something like that, but not 100% because let me tell you, I haven't worked here that long, okay? So I don't ever want to tell anybody wrong because there's a lot, there's a lot of policy, a lot of information. But I do try to help people as much as possible, and I am an honest person, okay? I know you don't know me, but I try to help people.
All I'm
But,
trying to clarify, ma'am, is my right to know is being obstructed by you doing your job.
okay,
I
you do have
understand
a
why.
right.
I
You do have a
understand
right to
your
have that.
protocol is necessary for you to do the best service that you can provide for me. But I want it to
Absolutely.
be clear that you are not able to provide the service to the best of your ability at this moment. And while doing so, it obstructs my right to know. Are we clear on that?
We are.
All
I
right.
want to tell you though, this is what it looks like happened this month. I do see it clearly, and I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I see that your check would normally originally be for. Let's see. We're right here. Okay. So, for example, for the month of February, it looks like you would have originally gotten. Now, this is going to be before. I'm going to break it down everything. This is before you got your check. Okay, this is what Social Security would have paid you. They would have paid you $1,157.90. Okay, but of course you had your regular $164.90 Part B premium, like everybody else. Which is like right at $165, right? Okay. Well, after that was taken out, you ended up with the amount of $993. That was for February, okay? So that's what you should have gotten. And now I'm gonna get you to March. Are we on the same page so far, though?
Ma'am, I just explained to you, I know what's happened to my records, that the Starkville Social Security Administration is creating false records in my name and refusing to allow me to correct them. I'm allowing you to go through whatever process is necessary for me to get this document. All I've discussed is the fact that the premiums went up $344.60, and there has been no notice provided to me to explain that. And what you just said had nothing to do with that.
But I'm fixing to get that. I'm fixing to tell you where that
I
$350 came from,
understand, ma'am,
okay?
but you're asking me if your question was, are we on the same page? The page that I am on is
Is where that
300
$300
and
and
forty
something. Okay,
four
that's what I'm
dollars
getting
and
to now.
sixty
I
cents.
want you to understand the change, okay?
I,
Okay, so we're going to March
I
now.
know the change. The change went $344.60. I know.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then we go to March, and like I said, we have that. You would normally be entitled to that same amount, but for some reason there is past due, is what it's saying. Past due Part B, my premium is what we call it, which is Part B. It's got your regular then Part B premium, which would be the $164.90, right at $165, and then it's got on here $329.80, which would go to $330. They got that they had to take out. So your check ended up being $663.20. That is where your money went for this month of March. Okay.
All right. You didn't say anything different from what Miss Neely said. You said that there's a Medicare hike. You charged a difference in the price of $344.60 for a Medicare premium. That's what you told me.
Right.
Now,
And so
what
it's looking like you
excuse
had
me,
a
if you'll
past
allow me,
due premium. Now that is
if you'll allow me, She didn't say for which months. I didn't say for which months, which is
Okay.
why
And
I
whenever those
request. If
differ,
you'll allow me, if you'll allow me, which is why I requested to have a notice explaining that. If you're
okay.
charging back premiums, what are those back premiums for? All the information that I would be entitled to know as the beneficiary who is making those payments, or the beneficiary who is suffering injury from Terry Newell, or whoever she is, making false entries to deduct premiums that I don't owe, which is more likely the case is that someone in the Starkville office went in and intentionally deducted premiums that they know I do not owe. So again, when can I have what you're saying to me over the phone in a written document?
Okay. I'm going to go talk to Miss uh, Crawley about that, our supervisor, and I'm going to go see.
Ma'am, let me advise you that Miss Crawley has been requested an emergency interview in front of law enforcement to inspect my records, and she has not responded. And I have filed a police report against Miss Crawley for not
Okay.
responding. Now I can't do anything about how you guys operate at the Social Security Administration, but I would prefer not to have someone that I filed a police report on get involved in a situation where someone in that office is already causing me a $344.60 injury. But if you have to, there's nothing I can do about it because it's law
No,
enforcement's
don't.
job. When I reported it, it was law enforcement's job to go and ask Miss Crawley, why haven't you responded? Because it's a law in the state of Mississippi that requires you to respond to that, and she has not. I don't. We just don't have a law enforcement officer to enforce Mississippi laws. Not against federal employees. I guess everybody's afraid of the federal government here, but I'm not. I want my records fixed. Okay, so
All right.
you're gonna go
But I
talk
can
to
talk to
Miss
someone
Crawley.
else,
I'm
another
not gonna try to
superior.
get you to go through any other routes, ma'am. If you have to go talk to Miss Crawley, that's fine. What is the intent in responding to me about when I get this notice?
That's that's what I'm going to find out exactly because see some of this stuff. Okay. Um,
It's
some
okay,
of this
ma'am.
stuff
All right. I don't want to get into what's going on in your building. Again, all of the stuff, again, I've already filed a claim at the Department of Treasury that says all of the stuff in there is false and that the people in that office are only entering things to try to harm me because they don't want to go to jail for what they already did. I already filed that claim in court and I've already filed it with the Department of Treasury. Only thing I have to do now is maintain my records. I just have to keep my records and make sure that it's no one else's responsibility in the world to make sure that my records in the Starkville office are at least being monitored for accuracy. So that's what I'm doing is checking to make sure even when I say my records are false and they're not being corrected, I'm monitoring to see when they actually are being corrected. So for clarity, my right to know about the $344.60 payment is going to be obstructed indefinitely until you speak to Miss Crawley about how to respond.
no, that's no, like I said. If you have other wishes, I can go to another superior.
Okay, well, let me clarify it again because it doesn't matter to me whether at this point whether it's Miss Crawley or not because it's all the Social Security Administration to me. The procedure for me that's available to me now is to have my right to know obstructed until you can be further advised on how to respond to me in writing to get the document.
Well, actually, I just found something here. To be honest, it looked like I said I haven't honestly worked here this that long. Like I said, I'm an honest person, and I'll tell you that. Um, just to because I want to make sure that I go over everything correctly with you. Like I said, I want to be transparent and
I
genuine
believe
with
you
you. Okay.
have. I believe you have.
Okay. I really do want to help you. But as you know, there's a lot of complex things to our system and stuff. And like I said, I don't know every exact thing. I have to go to policy and everything like that. But I do try hard, and
And I don't
it's
want you to get
help.
involved. I don't want you to. I don't mean to cut you off, ma'am, but I don't know anyone in that building personally, and I am a human being. And
Oh, I
these
understand.
crimes that I'm getting evidence of are being committed against disabled people, people who need some assistance from their government. So I'm not looking for individuals to actually jump in front of whoever is committing the crime. I'm trying to alleviate as much of the crime as possible for everyone. That's why I'm clarifying that it's not you. It's the Starkville field office policy of creating records in my name that is preventing me from having the right to know while you go and do what you're doing. It's not you personally, it's how your office is being run that is obstructing my right to know. I apologize if it feels like it's a personal attack, but it's not. It's just me protecting my property.
I understand, and I did just find something that I think is going to help you.
Ma'am,
Um,
ma'am, my right to know is obstructed. The only thing that's going to help me is for the records to be corrected as I requested, or for me to have what you're saying to me in writing.
right, and that's what I just found. So you know how the mail is kind of lately. Okay, this is a notice in our system, and it has it dated of February 28th of
I
this
already
year.
have that. That's what I called Miss Neely about. That's what
That is
Miss
the one.
Neely was
Okay,
sending me
that's
a
the.
notice about. That's what she sent the
Okay,
notice about on March the 3rd. I got that notice that said that this reduction was happening, and I didn't know why. I called her and asked her. I said, "What is this? This doesn't say why this 340. All this says is that
and it
you're
doesn't.
taking three hundred forty
It
four
doesn't do a
dollars
very
and
good job explaining why. I'll agree with you on that. It doesn't
oh
explain
no!
why,
It's not. It's not doing a. Ma'am, you like you said, you don't know the policy, but I do. I've studied it. I'm not telling you I'm an attorney. I'm telling you I'm qualified to be one. And what you're witnessing and what you're delaying prosecution right now of is a crime. That what happened when that notice came out, as you and I discussed earlier, without an explanation, it was the notice itself was a crime. So I called and requested to find out who sent the notice, and no one's told me that yet. Again, ma'am, right now all of this information needs to go to court because these are crimes against disabled persons. So I just need to monitor my property. So when can I get the notice that I'm requesting from you that explains what you're saying over the phone about the back Medicare premiums?
okay, I think I can take the information from this notice here that you got, and I think I can basically type something up for you because unfortunately that notice that you got that like we just both agreed doesn't really explain it very well that you saw and you said you called about. It tells you the amount, but like we said, it doesn't explain why very well that's being done.
Let me ask you this, ma'am. Who did it?
Okay, now that's what I'm going to explain to you. That is a general notice. We have people come in the
No,
office
no,
all the
no, no,
time.
not the notice. Who did the
That
deduction for the Medicare premium?
and that's something I was going to tell you earlier, but we got to talking about something else too. That's one of those things that besides your regular, premiums for Medicare, like that 165 or whatever, um, Medicare technically usually orders that stuff. Like
So,
for example, I'm just going to give you an
ma'am, I'm
example.
not asking about general questions. I'm asking about the record you're looking at now. Who did that? Who put on those Medicare premiums, back premiums? What were they for?
Like I said, it's where you owed Medicare money, so it
And
looks like
who did
Medicare
it? Who
had
did
to do
it?
that.
Who assessed it? Who assessed it and for what months?
When were they like back owed for? Like where did you
Right,
owe
right,
Medicare from? Okay,
right.
let me see if I can try to find that.
All right.
if I can try to find where that might be from. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, this might be about to tell me. Let's see.
Medicare says that Social Security Administration purchases the Medicare plan option. So the price that would be selected by the Medicare option would be one chosen by the local field office. You're telling me that Medicare is the one that's doing that. Medicare says the Social Security Administration is doing it, and the Social Security Administration says that Medicare is doing it, but I only get a notice from the Social Security Administration. But it doesn't tell me anything about changes or that's going on with Medicare.
Right, and like I said, that's something I would have to honestly, that would honestly be something I'd have to look up as far as when it's when it's not just the regular 165, like when there's a balance due, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to see exactly when that became, overdue, like when it was
Who
wrong.
who can you see who has assessed it for the month of March?
And that's something I can't see. It's not showing me. There's some things I can see who did it, but it's not showing me that.
So who would know?
Um, I don't know if management might could figure that out,
I
but
would
it's
like
not
to
something I
I
have
would like to
access to.
find out to establish strict liability for the notice that should have went out that explained it, so that we can decipher whose responsibility it was to actually send the explanation notice.
And now the thing is, I know that that notice didn't give a lot of good information, but that notice from the 28th of February, that is going to be what they consider the notice for that.
Who is they?
Social Security.
I know the Social Security Administration does. I'm talking about the federal court. The federal court would require the notice to explain the benefit reduction. It doesn't allow you to just state we're going to take money out of your account. The federal law governs the Social Security Administration, not the other way around.
Right.
The Privacy Act would have mandated that within 5 days before the deduction that I received a notice. Not you take the deduction then send the notice. That's not allowed anywhere in the law. As a matter of fact, your own Social Security Administration rules say that, and the federal courts have already ruled that you're not allowed to reduce a person's benefits without a hearing first, without the opportunity for a hearing first. And I have never been given that.
Okay, you're right. Yes, sir. But I will see if there's something like I said, that that I can try to type up something myself. Like I said, I
Ma'am,
didn't have
ma'am,
any
ma'am, you're
idea
not,
about it,
maybe
but
you're not understanding. I'm looking for the process that is my right, which is the person, the group, the agency, the department, the subdivision that made the change is liable for the explanation notice, not someone guessing and copying and pasting information. But if you want to do that, please put your name on it. What's your name?
Miss Hillman.
Ms. Tillman, if you want to do that, please put your name on it and say that you are the person that is sending the notice from the Starkville office that is because what this does is this is establishes liability for irreparable injury to my right to know, because you'll never be able to fix the fact that I was supposed to know before a benefit reduction or cutoff. You were supposed to send a notice. You'll never be able to go back in time and send that notice. So it's an irreparable injury. If you type up a notice and say, I am going to send the notice to correct everything for the Social Security Administration and put my name on it, you are in the state of Mississippi, you are accepting liability for the notice that was neglected to date. And in the state of Mississippi, that's a crime that carries up to 10 years. And great thing about that for you is that I'm having a trouble finding a law enforcement officer in the entire state of Mississippi who understands that even a person from the federal government cannot come into our state and commit that crime. That even that individual would go to jail in our state. That's how we protect the federal government, is to make sure that the federal government employees in our state are doing the job the way they're supposed to do it, and if they don't, we take them to jail and tell the federal government to come and get their employee. At least that's how the law is supposed to work. It just hasn't made its way into reality yet. So I still don't have a clear understanding on how to get this explanation, but so you're going to send me one from you, from Miss Tillman, that says what you're seeing, and you're going to accept all the liability for the one that hasn't been here that was supposed to be here.
I mean, I don't think I can do that since I had no idea, about that, but I don't think anything was necessarily done wrong. There was something that,
Do I have a right to know why the $344.60 was taken out?
but we,
Do I have a right
you
to
know,
know why the
look,
$344.60 was taken out?
absolutely, but
Do I have a document explaining to me why the $364.40 was taken, why the $344.60 was taken out? That says what you're
like I
saying
said,
over the phone.
I don't think it explained it well, and I
Do
will
I have a
try
document that
find a
says
way to
what
that.
you're saying over the phone about back Medicare premiums being the cause for $344.60? Do I have that document?
It doesn't appear that
Do I have a right
you're
to
saying it.
that? But you can see it, right? You, as the government employee, you can see that, right?
I don't see that you have one at this time.
All right, but you can see the deductions are happening, right?
For the 1 month, I did see that.
All right. So you don't think there's anything wrong with me not having a notice that explains what you're saying? You don't think there's anything wrong there?
I do think that you, needed like it told you were going to get less, but I do think that you had a right to know, and that's why you were, called the office like other people do when they don't understand their notice, and we, explained it to you. But if you would like something in writing, like I said, I'll be
I
glad
can't
to
do
get
anything.
somebody
I
to
can't
provide
do
that
anything
for you,
about
sir.
what you're doing, Miss Tillman. You and I both know what that is. I need the notice, Miss Tillman. If I'm either going to get it from you or I'm going to call back and get it from someone else. We're done here. I'm not going to help you. Again, I'm doing the best I can to get as many employees in the Starkville office to stop the crime. I can't do anything about the fact that you get on the phone and willingly do it. But you heard yourself say, I have a right to a notice. You heard yourself say that I don't have the notice. And now you're hearing yourself say, I need to create deniability and say, there's nothing wrong here. I've taken this, I've performed a job that has obstructed a man's right to know about $344.60 that the government has taken, and I'm going to get paid to do it. I'm done with you, Miss Tillman. I still don't have a clear understanding on how you're going to resolve the issue, other than the fact that you're going to get a paycheck for what you just said. So I'm going to give it another 2 days to see if I actually get a notice from you, and then I'll call back again. If I don't,
Okay. I'm going to try to find somebody who can try
ma'am,
to resolve this.
I don't
Way to get
need
that.
anything from you other than my records corrected, because even when I do get the notice, it's only going to prove that you, Miss Tillman, are involved in the crime with Miss Neely and Miss Crawley and James Christopher Blackwell, Mark Walker, and John Jackson and Roger Locke. That's all it's going to do until my records are corrected. So again, I'm done talking. I'm walking away from the phone. I'm not going to get involved in a crime.
You have a good evening, sir. Bye-bye.